And now it's Deborah Kobylt Live and the Little Italy Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on Deborah Kobylt Live and my Little Italy podcast. And I'm thrilled to welcome Antonello Pierro, who is calling us from Rome right now to talk about the huge surge of many, many Americans who are interested in purchasing property in Italy, and myself being one of them. And I often thought, gosh, where would I start? What would I do? Who do I call? Do I need a realtor? Antonello has all of the answers to those questions. So thank you so much for joining us, Antonello.
Hi, Deborah. Thanks for having me here today. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Gosh, I wish I was there right now. I really do. And, every time I'm going to be going in a few weeks. And when I go there, I always look for property. Right. And I'm never quite sure what should I do? Where should I start? So let's start there. You're someone like me. You want to get a place. Maybe you've identified the region where you want to go. Then what? Do I drive around in the car? Do I need a realtor? What do I do?
Yeah. It's a great question because to navigate in the Italian real estate, it's a very complicated comparing what happens in US, and in US is quite easy. And you have some clear points where to go. And in Italy, it's a little bit more complicated. Since we are very ancient, very old country, and we are still based and seated on the past, we try to complicate it and not to simplify. And I think it's very useful to get some tip to know a little bit how it works. And I think I will start how to research properties. I mean, when you're looking for a property in some region, I think the best thing to do is to go to the main portal, which they list all the property on sale, and you start from there. You research a property in the area where you like to go, and then from there you will find probably 5 or 6 properties, and you will also connect with the realtors who handle these properties because, yeah.
In Italy, so that it's kind of the equivalent of the MLS service, so multiple listing service there in Italy, right? You go online and let's say I want to buy in Avellino. Would I put homes for sale in Avellino and it just pops up? Is that what you do?
Not exactly the MLS like you have in the States, because that's more in the States works more efficiently. I would say that there are 2 or 3 main websites where all the people, realtors and individuals, private people who doesn't hire the realtor, advertise the properties on sale. And so you go there, and when you find the property that you would like to visit, you will call the agent who is handling that property. And you will have to deal necessarily with this agent. You cannot hire your agent like happens in the States, that then you have
Right.
agent, you have representation, and he or she will help to navigate, to handle the process. Yeah, I would say that is the main difference.
Right. So each property has its own individual realtor. You call up that realtor and then they will take you to that property, right?
That's right.
That's how it works. So you need to identify where are some of the real popular places that many Americans are looking to move.
Oh, wow. First of all, there is Tuscany, which is still the top target area. Tuscany is still the number 1 region. But after that, there is Umbria, and there is upcoming region like Marche and Puglia. Puglia now is really hot area where people is buying. And I just assisted a few months ago a guy from Miami who purchased a typical Puglia construction, who probably, I don't know, some of the people knows, is called Trullo. I don't know if you never seen.
Yes.
Trullo is this shape, this with a cone roof, and it's very typical just in that area. And it's become very popular, and a lot of people want to go there.
Wow. So a lot of Americans are buying those. Oh, they're just spectacular. I visited last year and saw that. And I thought, gosh, how interesting it would be to purchase one of these. They're quite, they're from quite some time ago, and they're very unique, right? They're these cone-shaped homes. That's the best way to describe them for me, anyway. And that's very exciting that that's become very popular. What about the people who are investing? A lot of cities in Italy are saying, come here, you can purchase a property for $1, and then you have to update or build within a certain amount of time. Is that something people should look into, or is that really difficult?
When you say build, do you mean remodel or real build to build up the house?
Remodel. I'm sorry. To remodel. Yeah.
Typically people. So the other target for Americans are Rome and Florence, and of course Amalfi Coast. In those three areas, there are both new properties. So already remodeled, and property that needs to be remodeled, restored, and I think what now Americans are learning is that before they want to buy their property already done, ready to enter, now they learned that it's better to purchase a property, saving some money, a property old, which they need to be restored, remodeled, and do the work like they like, so at their taste. And yeah, I saw at least in the last 6 months 4 or 5 cases where they purchased a property was destroyed, and they enjoyed, they spent 6 months to remodel, and it's a challenging, but when you do this, it's then the property become very beautiful, because imagine the old building, like where I'm calling from here in the center of Rome, is a building of 1870, built in 1870, and outside is old, and inside is completely new. So I remodeled when I rented this office, and it's completely new. And when you do this, gives you a good feeling, because you are living in a historical building, but you have a very comfort property inside. Yeah.
But is that really difficult to find, the contractors to work with and whatnot? Do you help people with that, or no? You just maybe point them in a direction and say, how do you handle people who want to do that?
But usually I help also after the purchase to handle all the contract, all the operation that they have to do. They have to make, including the contract with the contractor, and around my firm, I have also engineer, architect, and interior designer who take the entire project. So they make the design, they handle the construction, and they give the key when the property is ready. I think in English it's called turnkey, something like this. And I have, in my team, I have people who speak perfectly English, and they have the habit to deal with people from overseas, and they try to waive the client from all the nightmares dealing with the construction company and the public administration to get the building permits and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so let's talk about, a lot of people are thinking, if I have a place there, I can establish residency, or maybe I could apply for citizenship. Could you explain some of the difference? Like, you get different kinds of people there, right? Those who want to be the digital nomad, they want to work remotely. Those who are hoping for that residency visa. Can you explain about how it could, in fact, help somebody if they were to purchase a property to get that visa? Or explain a little bit about that.
Yeah. First of all, when you purchase a property in Italy, you don't need to have a citizenship. You don't need to have a residency. Especially American people, American buyers, we have a special treaty between Italy and States. So we have reciprocity. So American can come here as a tourist, come here, purchase a property, stay up 3 months, and it's fine. They don't need special visa or permit to stay. Americans can stay here till 90 days. Um, then, if you have a property, you own a property, is one of the requirements to get the permanent residency. So let's say that you want to buy a property and you want to move to Avellino, and you come here, you have a property, then there are some other requirements, like, for example, to prove to the Italian government that you are not coming here to work and you have enough income in your home country, like America, and you can establish your residency here and stay however you like. And the residency can give further benefits. For example, if you are a resident in Italy, you don't pay the healthcare service, and you register in some special entity, and they will give a card to benefit the healthcare services. For example, you can send the children to the university, and the public university here is quite cheap comparing how much it costs in the States. So
Yeah.
that is the things that comes to my mind. But furthermore, as you mentioned, in the last 6 months came out a detailed regulation regarding the digital nomad visa, which we were waiting for since 2 years. And if people shows that has matched all the requirements, you can come here and work remotely for your American employer or foreign employer from Italy, and you can stay here and live in Italy and enjoy your property. In this case, you don't need necessarily to purchase. You can even rent the property and stay here and work from Italy. Yeah.
So you can stay as long as you'd like if you're a digital nomad, and also if you establish residency, can you stay as long as you like?
You can stay as long as you get the visa. I mean, this visa usually they give for 1 year or 2 years. It's something quite new, so I don't have the track record about how long they give, because it's a complicated process. You have to go through the consulate, Italian consulate in the States, and then come here and apply for another visa. A little bit bureaucratic process, but it works. It works because there are some people who already got, and so will be fun for American people to come here and enjoy Italy while they're working.
Absolutely. Now, let's say I'm a buyer. I identify a property. I call you, right? How do you help buyers? How do you protect buyers? And what is it that you do for the buyer who found a property? I believe that you help with inspections. You help prepare an offer first. Explain to our audience, what is it that you do?
But usually when client reach me out and he or she already found the property, we start since the beginning of the process. And first of all, we negotiate with the realtor, who I think I have to mention this point because it's crucial to know for Americans. The realtor in Italy plays a different function, different role. Is a more, we call them real estate mediator, because he doesn't represent buyer or seller. He's right in the middle, and he tries to link the parties and in order to make a deal. And so the realtor is not a professional who represents the buyer. So the first thing we negotiate the terms and the condition of the engagement of the realtor. Mm-hmm. And what we expect he has to do, how much commission he has to get if the deal is concluded, is signed, and especially when he has to pay, because this is very important, because American has a different way to proceed. They rely on the realtor, and sometimes they rely too much. And probably to have a professional who guide them will help them to avoid problem issues that can come out later. And this is the first step I do. And secondly, I start to make the due diligence. And there are two types of due diligence. It's a technical due diligence or legal due diligence. And this we do really in the preliminary step, just to learn a little bit more about the property, to avoid issues and problems that usually are discovered later when the buyer is sitting around in front of the notary to sign the closing contract.
Oh.
We want to learn this in the beginning and eventually to negotiate the price or eventually to ask the buyer to adjust or rectify the problems and the issues that we found out. And the second thing that I do, and I designed a specific contract framework, is to avoid that the foreign buyer, not just Americans, everybody coming from overseas, that they take money from their wallet and put as a down payment, as a deposit, unless the seller doesn't disclose all the documents and doesn't disclose all the issues that may arise in the deal, in the property. Because, you know, the buyer has to know that, buyers have to know that in Italy, most of the property are very old. If we're talking about Tuscany, Florence, Rome, Naples, Amalfi Coast, all the property is quite old, especially the property targeted by American buyers. They like to live in a historical building. And this building, the younger is 150 years old. The oldest can have 400 years old. So you have to go through all the process, all the papers in the city and study and assess what kind of remodel construction they have made through the centuries. And that is very complicated sometimes because the city of Rome and the city of Florence, they don't release the paper very quickly. They spend some time. And so the process sometimes needs time. And sometimes I experience with the American buyers, they want to close the deal in 20 days. And I try to explain that this in Italy is not possible. We need a few months, at least a few months, sometimes 5 or 6 months. That is the average time to close a deal because you need to go through all the papers because you don't want to buy a property in some old places and then discover after 3 months because you want to rush, you want to close the deal immediately and then discover that there is one room, one window illegally built.
Oh, right. So you really help everybody go through everything. You probably pull papers from the city to make sure things were built properly according to code, right? Gosh, that's a lot of work that you do.
Yeah.
And Antonello, that's a lot.
Deborah, if I can mention one episode very quickly, I was representing an attorney from Los Angeles. This guy was working for Hollywood celebrities and for Disney for many years. And he wanted to buy a property in Amalfi Coast. And he thought that he could do through his legal knowledge, but I had to walk him through all this situation, all these issues, and finally understood that he wanted to buy a property in Amalfi, and he already signed the offer, and then he understood the problem. He resigned. He walked away because there was so many complications on that property. So sometimes, but then he appreciated my help. He was very grateful because he understood that he could go through many headaches and problems for probably more than 1 year to solve that. And he wanted the property ready in 2 months. And so I think to rely some professional who knows the real estate and who knows the cultural differences, I think it really helps to get a deal made quickly and made in the soft way without critical issues, I believe.
Yeah. Can you also help people, again, let's say I come to you and I say, Antonello, I would like to buy a home and, obviously a few hundred years old, but I'd like it to already be updated completely. Would you be able to say, I know a realtor, but it doesn't work that way. I have to identify it myself, right? Or that's the tricky part to me, finding somebody to help you find the property, right?
Yeah, no, I understand your point. You're right, because it works in different way. But there are some area, for example, in Tuscany and in Puglia, there are some agencies, some realtors who have a big listing. So if you go there
Right.
locally, maybe you go there. Of course, I can connect with some people in all the regions in Italy, especially Tuscany and Puglia. But probably the good suggestion is to go there and connect with at least two realtors who handle a good number of listings that probably can offer a good option, a good number of options that you might like. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think Tuscany and Puglia and eventually also Rome. But Rome, the market is so wide that there are so big offer that you have to go through more than one realtor. But
Yeah.
Amalfi and Puglia, Puglia and Tuscany is different. Probably you can go through a realtor, and I eventually could help to connect with. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think, oh, if I buy a little place in Italy, it'll fast track them to get citizenship. But that's not the case, right? Owning a property. Go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Well, owning a property does not necessarily mean, oh, it's easier to establish to be a citizen, right? You can get residency a little easier, but what about citizenship?
Oh, for citizenship, there are 2 or 3 options. First of all, if you don't have, if the buyer doesn't have the Italian heritage, he can come to Italy, establish a residency. After 3 years, 10 years, he can get the Italian citizenship. There is now a law, a changing of the law, and we have a referendum in Italy that they are trying to cut these 10 years, and instead of 10 years, if the referendum will pass, will be 5 years. So if you come to Italy, establish the residency, you will stay 5 years and you will get the citizenship. But right now, the law requires to stay 10 years. Another option is that you have Italian heritage, you have all the documents set up to show that you have Italian heritage. Your ancestor came to Italy, to States. They never gave up the Italian citizenship before the child was born, and the applicant, the buyer can apply in Italy if he or she establishes the residence in Italy. In this way, you will skip the big line that there is in the Italian consulate in the States. But additionally, there is now a complication because on March 27, Italian government issued a new decree which stopped the eligibility, limited eligibility for those who want to apply for the Italian citizenship, who want to go through the great-grandparents. So you can get this through the parents or through the grandparents. Because before, people was going through the great-grandparents to the people who was born in Italy in 1872, 75. So these people doesn't have any connection with Italy, and the government is trying to stop this because many Argentinian and many Brazilian came to Italy, applied for their Italian citizenship, and then left Italy, got a passport and left Italy. And went to Germany, went to Spain, and this was too bad because so they were using this option just to get a passport and then leave Italy. And so anyway, now if you have Italian heritage, you can get the citizenship through your parents or grandparents, but you cannot go over.
Right. Or you can purchase property and establish residency for a certain amount of time, which I think would be magnificent, and then go that way. There are many, many, many options. What else can you tell us about this process that our audience needs to know and should know about purchasing property there? And I know that there's been a real surge. People really want to come there. I know I do. And I've been very slow to doing this, right? I live a busy life. So I said, oh, I'll do it next year. Well, hurry up. Sometimes there's not next year. You have to just do it and get with it, right? Anything you'd like to tell my audience that they should know?
I think that one good point to know, and like you pointed out, I think you should move quickly because Italian market is changing.
Yes.
The numbers from the is an entity for real estate is a public entity who observe, who register all the data about the purchases in Italy. 2024, the numbers increased a lot comparing the number of the purchases happened in 2023, and the market is growing, and we have, like I mentioned in the beginning, Puglia is growing a lot. Tuscany is still very top region. Then we have Umbria and Marche and Liguria, and of course Amalfi Coast. But the news is that the city like Rome, the market was quite stable, even during the COVID was quite stable. We had other cities growing. Rome is exploding. Rome in the last 3 years is full of tourists. We had a new opening about 5 or 6 5-star luxury hotel here in Rome, and the market is growing a lot. So I think if people want to buy, has to buy now, not in 3 years. And if you want to buy a little small house in the more countryside, I really recommend to go in Puglia, because Puglia will be another exploding market in the next 5 years. And what I want to say about the process, the purchase process, I think Americans have to approach, not with American mentality, but a little bit more relaxing mentality, relaxing approach. Because here in Italy, it's true that everything slows down, everything is loaded. People is a little bit more focused on the cappuccino, on having a lunch, having aperitif, and then having a dinner. Even if people work, this is a rational choice to leave the work, do not work crazy, and enjoy a little bit more the life. And that is the reason why Americans want to come here, to enjoy the life. So they have to take a little bit more the purchase, relax, and rely more on the professional, and do not rush the process. Maybe do not do in 2 months and purchase in 4 months, in 6 months, because the issues always will be there. Any old property will have some issues. So you have to be ready to get this with a more relaxed approach. And you will have a fun later, because I think in Italy there are a lot of things to do to enjoy the life. And most of all, there are some studies, especially right from, you are in Los Angeles, from the USC in Los Angeles, they are studying the longevity. And there is some statistic that people in Italy live 5 years longer than Americans, especially in south of Italy. And there are some particular region that people live much longer than American people, and also more than all the Italian people. This region is Sardinia, like everybody knows, but also is Cilento. Cilento is right south of Amalfi Coast. And I think there are a lot of things that will come out later in the future about this. And Cilento is the area where the Mediterranean diet was created, where now is studied from all over the world. So I think this is a very good area where to investigate if eventually people want to buy a property, because there are a lot of things together which allow people to live longer.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. It's the lifestyle. As you said, you don't rush. You don't say, I need to do this in 10 days. Okay, it might take 4 months. It might take 6 months. Relax. Your food, you don't want to eat like this. Relax. Your food, it's good ingredients. Take your time. Go for a walk. There's a lot, as Americans, we can learn from the lifestyle in Italy. And I've read that in some regions, they're living 8 and even 10 years longer than the average American, which is really incredible to me. My family is from Southern Italy, and I visit them. And if I ever bought a place, I think I'd like to be close to where they are. And that's exactly how they live. And I sometimes wonder, gosh, it's amazing that my grandparents came here. We should just all go back, because the life is it lends itself to just with family and good food. And it's a magnificent place, not just to visit, but to buy a property. I'm going to be calling you because you've motivated me to do this, Antonello. You really have. And you're,
Absolutely, I will help you. With pleasure. With pleasure.
I know you would too. And because I know other people who've worked with you and you've been magnificent with them as well. So I really appreciate the time that you have taken to explain this to us. How can people get in touch with you, Antonello?
By email, absolutely by email, and yeah, and I'm usually always responsive, so by email, so there's no problem. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and what is
and
your go ahead.
they go in my website. We can even set up a call. So I'm available. We are available. So usually working with since most of my clients are from California, I'm I have the habit to be up late in the evening till 10 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, yeah. Very often I'm at the office till 10 o'clock p.m. Yeah, yeah. So there's no problem to help them, to be connected with them, and even give some tip if they want some little information to how to start the process. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you've been very easy and agreeable. Right now, you're 9 hours ahead of us, so it's late there. And I appreciate you taking the time late in the evening. Also on your Instagram, right? People can reach out on the Instagram. You'll answer
Absolutely.
back.
Absolutely.
That, especially for American people, that's very easy. They just write on the Instagram. You can give them your email and your WhatsApp number, and then they get going right away. So thank you so
Absolutely. Yes.
much.
Absolutely.
Is there anything I left out that you want to make sure that our people know?
No, I think we covered though. So all the main topics about the purchase process, and we explained why they should rely on someone who knows the purchase process and the market here.
Not
Yeah,
not to mention, everybody, it's such a beautiful way to live. And you just purchase even a little place, right? Would be so magnificent, and just go and enjoy. And I imagine many places you can rent them if you wanted to make a little money from that. Are you allowed to rent your properties
yeah.
these days?
I have few clients that they purchase the property in Amalfi Coast and in Rome, and both they now are renting the property. They want to purchase the property in the market, and it's a big house with 4 bedrooms. Then
Oh,
he
wow.
rents. He's from California, and when he stay in California, he doesn't, because he comes two times per year. When he doesn't use the property, he rents all the time. He makes very good income. And another client from Miami, he purchased a property in Rome, in an area called the Trastevere, that is very touristic place, and he rented all the time because he's a lawyer. He works so much, and he doesn't use so much the property. He comes just once a year, and no,
Mm.
everywhere in the countryside and it's in the city like Rome, Florence, Naples, even Milan is very busy city. It's very easy to rent in
Mm.
Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking, and all these websites. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point that you reached there. Yeah, yeah. I forgot to mention
Yeah.
that Italy
Another
is very touristic. Yeah, so people comes here all the
Yeah,
time.
a little too much so. So, but especially look what's happening in Venice. Oh my goodness. I love Venice. Venice is one of my favorite places. Off in the back, not the most popular tourist, but I love to just walk the little streets and just cross a bridge, go somewhere. It's so special to me. No matter where you go, you're surrounded by the water. I love it there very, very much. So many beautiful places, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
I appreciate you coming on to our show very, very much.
you're
And
welcome.
please, everybody, reach out to Antonello Pierro on his social media, on his website. And it's called Piero and Associates, right?
PierreAssociates.com. Yes.
PieroAssociates.com. We'll put all of that information on our text with our show. And also we'll post some promos in weeks to come with our interviews, so you can get more information about what Antonello does and how he can help you out if you're looking to purchase a property like I am. So please find our show on YouTube, on Facebook, It's an audio podcast as well on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, and any place where you get your podcasts. You can find our shows, Deborah, Kobylt Live, and the Little Italy podcast. I appreciate you coming on very, very much. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.